The land of testing and more testing, and the test he was being tested for was one of those tests by which little boys and little girls are divided into those who do and those who don't, those who advance and those who retreat, those who end up in the ivy and those who end up in the streets. This little one was just as smart as any child of 7 or 8 might be if he had computers in his home, if there was food on his table, if there was a home, if the sound of gunshots could have been confused with an automobile backfiring. But he didn't live in such a place. He lived in that place where innocence gets punished for crimes they never committed. That day of test, Kenyatta sat at his desk like all the other children, and while they diligently spelled out the words and answered questions and advanced, Kenyatta only saw letters swirling, refusing to resolve into words. He couldn't read. He hadn't gotten help from his teacher, who carried too many, nor from the principal in her office detached, not from the librarian who might have helped him. No hail fellow, well-met, or good Samaritan stepped up. So he did what anyone might do. He roared. He wadded up his test and threw it on the floor. He jumped up from his desk and stormed out while the other children shook. This display disrupted their concentration, derailed their best intentions, constrained their responses. It might even have changed their life's course. That day, I came home after speaking with his teacher and hearing her say, and she was a good teacher, loved by her students. They don't give us any help. The children are so many, and there's only one of me. After speaking with his principal and hearing her say, teachers must learn how to deal with this on their own. We can't come to the rescue every time a child falls behind. I came home that day and told my wife, if this kid is not given a hand, he's not going to survive. And then I went about my business, aiding where I could, walking away when I couldn't. And I forgot about Kenyatta. I'd see him from time to time, sullen and angry, but there's nothing worth noting when a child who eats irregularly glares, stares, makes mean eyes. 10 years later, I was in New York on business. My wife sent me a newspaper clipping, the once promising young man had been gunned down in the street. A deal didn't go down like he planned. A different boy or girl might have been dealing a different product, might have been selling automobiles or building computers, or might have been teaching in a local school. But he didn't get a helping hand. All he got was indifference. at best. Malevolence, more likely. Cruelty and oppression as his allotment, compounded, amortized, and institutionalized on a daily basis, until all the other options disappeared. And when we ask, and then we ask, what went wrong? What do you think went wrong? How much longer will we allow this wrong to go on? My next poem is called True Story. By the way, I was a reporter for years, so a lot of my poetry is true stories. Pretty much all of it. This next poem is called Pigs Always at the Front of the Line. And it's responding to a wonderful poem by a friend of mine called Tonga Weisenmarsen. And the poem that I'm responding to is called Faceless. Today, the Bank of Silicon Valley collapsed, taken over by the FDIC, a federal operation supposed to come to the rescue of fools like you. But only fools like you would believe those lies, as everyone with eyes and ears wide open knows. Billionaires line up first for the handouts, fist over fist. And Larry Summers, the on-call misogynist scum, the self-same gesture of the universe, who muled way back in '08 when the homeless crisis got jet-fueled, as those same looters stole every damn home in these disunited snakes, or whatever the hell we call ourselves these days. They chased the poor into the streets for another home in a tax haven and a Gulf jet to get there with their harem right next to that island Jeffrey Epstein owned. You know the one who bought young women, promised them access and equality and wealth and riches in exchange for a BJ or a little hide the hot dog, then left them demoralized and addicted like pimps do. They too are dealers of death, promisers of pain, of destitution and despair, who never cared about the powerless, the poor, those not born to the lucky sperm club, about mothers who work to keep food on tables, fathers who work jobs that kill, quick or slow, who knows all the suffering that gets inflicted, certainly not those a-holes who think they are the smartest men in the room, when all they are Satan's sycophants, serving out suffering for generations, thinking there's something else, when the truth is they're nothing, less than nothing, not even footnotes in this horrible, inhumane, this malevolent creation they make our lives. By the way, Peter Thiel was an investor and crashed the bank. He also is behind PayPal. He is also behind the Proud Boys. He had $50 million in the bank, which was not going to be covered by FDIC, so they rewrote the rules so he could get paid off. Then my last poem is called Those Who Die Never Leave Us. The dead do not lie under the earth. Their spirits live on within us. Not just your mother or father, grandparents and mares, their grands too. All who lived in them still live in you. Ways of seeing, of speaking, even the canter of your walk gets passed down from mother to daughter, father to son. Some blurring as a daughter's mouth, her father's words, as a son checks himself, passing in the window, making sure. I watched a woman walk the other day, half a block away, her hips back and forth, sliding side to side. I wanted to feel as she felt as she walked. I found myself walking as she did, hips shifting to and fro with a slight flick, It felt like liquid, silky smooth. I felt desired. A ship gliding through strange, powerful waters. The wind in my sails pushing me into the world. Waves crashing, frothing over my gunwales. I powered on, invincible. Then I recalled myself younger, still in high school. Choir singing, basso profundo. Though I also sang tenor, a rumbling sound from somewhere inside. Deep notes that said, I'm a man, walk with a swagger. Even my wispy mustache shouted, look, man, important. Or is it impotent? Certainly constructed. Thousands of generations of lessons told and taught. How to be what they want me to be, unquestioning. As my mother taught my sisters how to smile, to sit, knees together, head tilted up, eyes wide, as her mother taught her. It's not in our genes. It's found in their ever-echoing expectations. No, those lost generations aren't dead. They won't even leave us alone, shouting over our shoulders, screaming into our ears. This is what we expect of you, their voices say. Obey us or die, they say over and over and over again. How limited, how shallow their expectations. Not near deep enough for all that we might have become.
Amazing. Thank you, friend. If you enjoyed that, which you should have, check out dodsworthbooks.com. He publishes books of poetry by other poets and hosts poetry events. Fun fact about Fred, he has been banned from Twitter for life twice. How that works. Bad boy.